Hello and good morning, good day, good afternoon, wherever you are. Today, we have an interesting little video for you guys. Hopefully you guys get something from this. Today I want to talk about taxes, our favorite subject, right? It's going to be mostly about crypto, but it's also about physical responsibility, right? Like you and I have to do that. We have to be responsible. Sometimes our governments make decisions in which makes you scratch your head. None more than this one. As you've probably already heard on other channels, this whole tax event that they want to come after your capital gains tax that haven't even been sold yet, right? So, in other words, you've made $100,000 off said investment, and we would like 25%. They're even talking about 44%, as high as 44% of your future capital gains. So let's think about that. So does that make sense to anybody? So your house went up, you bought it, it went up $400,000, and then now as soon as the thing gets passed, on your taxes you have to give them $100,000. Does anyone see a problem here? Does at least $100,000? It could be $44,000, right? Or 100. No, that'd be $150,000. Anyway, numbers aside, you get the point. At least 25% would be $100,000. Are you kidding? For what? Wait a minute. Why am I getting charged $100,000 per individual who made a great investment? Let's not even get into whether or not you bought precious metals or crypto or stocks or bonds or whatever it might have been that you were smart enough to buy a appreciating asset, which is really what this is all about. So the good side, I know there aren't any good sides to that one. Well, let me backtrack just a little bit before I get to the good stuff. You know why it didn't pass? That's not a real hard one to figure out, right? It's an election year. That would have went over like a lead balloon, 2024. So immediately upon the thing not passing, what did they do? Hey, by the way, we're going to go right after this and sign this thing into law, and it's going to happen next year, 2025. What a perfect year for that. That's where the good news comes in this video. I'm not being sarcastic whatsoever. The good news is that tells me between now and 2025, they plan on throwing the printing press at the planet again. That's right. Well, first of all, it's election year, as we all know. But the printing press has to come on very soon. We know it because it's getting out of hand. They're even at a point where they're afraid to cut rates or raise rates. They're just in panic mode. They're sitting there saying to themselves, well, I can't cut rates. You got to save that for when the economy gets really, really, really bad. You want to cut rates. I know a lot of people don't understand that. Let me explain to you. They only are going to cut rates if they're in a downward spiral that they don't feel like they can get out of. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme for Wall Street or bankers or crypto owners, asset owners. That is not why they're going to cut the rates. I know that's going to benefit everybody who owns all those assets. I get that. But it's going to be an economic downturn that forces that hand that they have to play. They don't want to. They will. They will if they have to. So I don't think they're going to play that card. I think they're going to kick that can down the road until the can's so big they're going to need a giant boot, right? So they're going to be forced to play those cards, only and not until. So let's think about this. They're going to do what? They're going to distribute money in every way that is not deemed QE. But you and I know it's going to be QE. So they're going to hand money out everywhere on the face of this country, all around this country. So Canada already went to it at 60 some odd % capital gains tax. Are you out of your minds? What do you think? Look, if you were doing anything of value with the money in which you were receiving annually, I would say, okay, I can live with it. look what we've accomplished. Look what those tax dollars did. But let's get into that for a second before I get down to positive. Let's get down that a little bit. We just gave a bunch of money to Ukraine. Stupid amounts of money to Ukraine. I mean, I don't even know if a Ukrainian would say, wait a minute, because we're in a war, you guys should have to pay future capital gains tax? Like the people of Ukraine. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? Wait a minute. How is that their problem? Like, I don't get it. Explain that to me. But a bigger problem to me than that is Israel. Don't get me wrong. Hey, I don't have a problem with any nation. I really don't. I don't have a problem with Israel in any sense of the word. But why are we giving a 40, 50, I don't know, I think it's up to 80 now, billion dollars? For what? Why? Does everybody know that they're like financially solvent? That they have a bank account that is just busting at the seams and every month it gets bigger? Like they have a ridiculous amount of monetary reserves. They spend less than they earn every year as a nation. That's not what we're doing. We're the exact opposite of that. Why are we loaning money to people that don't need a loan? I guess is the way to put that. We're the one that needs a loan, right? We must need a loan. We must need a loan. Why? Because they're coming over after capital gains tax. And think about that now. They're going to force Mr. Smith and Mr. Johnson to sell his home. How is he going to pay a $100,000 tax bill? Because his house went up $400,000 in the last few years of ownership. How is he supposed to do that? Put a lien against his house? Is he supposed to move all of his family and then, buy a house that's only, 75% of that value and sell the other 25 and give it to the feds every 3 or 4 years? Does that even make sense? And how is it, by the way, the people making these laws go into these jobs making $150,000 to $200,000 a year, and 5 years later they have 5 mansions and they make $10 million a year, and yet they're the ones telling us that we're the financial problem? Does anyone look into that? Why do they get to decide that? And you know what they're going to do, right? They're going to say, oh, well, gosh, you poor people, look, we're taking care of you because we're taxing now the middle class to death. Because that middle class made $400,000 off of his house. You deserve 25% of his house, don't you? Don't you? And of course they're going to go, yeah, man, I could use that. That'd be kind of nice. I'd like that. That sounds great. I don't even care if you're a socialist. That sounds ridiculous. You're going to make a man move out of his house? I don't get it. It's beyond me. Now, here's where the good part of the video comes in, okay? First of all, if they put that on a ballot, it would never pass. Absolutely. It just couldn't. These are the kind of things they ramrod through. The good thing tells me this. Here's where the happy part of the story. Maybe we'll go with a happy ending here. Try and make this video short. The good part is that tells me they're about to print out their noses and they're about to distribute equity around this country and to the likes that we haven't seen since late 2020. I believe it's why they've come up with this tax situation, because they understand that everybody that owns assets is a tax inflow for them. So they say, okay, how do we get our money back that we have to print fraudulently, in my opinion? We have to print all this money. How do we get it back? If we print the money out and we put it out and distribute it out there, how do we get a big chunk of it back? Well, they're going to get 25% of it back because all the smart people have bought assets like you and I. You and I have bought a bunch of crypto. To think that crypto isn't going to go up 100% over the next year and they get 25% of that, they already marked that one down. They got that. They understand. They understand that they cannot pay their bills without printing money. They also understand that they can't keep the Ponzi afloat without creating more digits. And by creating more digits, it's going to put a ton of those digits in your wallet, in your pocket. It's going to create capital gains for you. Okay? So now they're looking for ridiculous ways to get into your wallet before you even sold your crypto. Which leads me to the ridiculous thing is like, well, what happens when my crypto goes down? Do I get to write that off on my future losses? Probably, I don't know, probably not, right? But that, I haven't looked into that enough, but that's an interesting thought. I'm glad you asked that question. So if you look at this, this means they know there's a big print coming. There's a big influx of money coming. Well, when you look at the tax laws, the other ones that they snuck under the door here and over there, they're talking about a second layer of inheritance tax. Yeah, look it up. It's ridiculous. Your inheritance tax is pretty solid. So, been solid for 100 years in this country here. But there's a new layer of the onion that they're putting on top. A second, in other words, a second generation tax. Well, you had rich parents, that's your fault. You get taxed. Okay, because the poor people love that. Got it. Okay, so you're going to eliminate the possibility of what this channel has always told you, and that is this crypto thing is generational wealth. This is an opportunity to create a madman amount of ridiculous returns that are coming your way over this next 5 to 20 years. And you're going to see returns generationally changing everyone involved in it. And they know it. They see it. And they're trying to dot all the I's and cross all the T's so that they get their hands back on all that money printing they have to do. You get where that's going? You understand that it's really coming. Why do you think they want to hire 87,000 IRS agents? They're coming after us because they know our success. They see our success. They understand it. They see it the way you and I see it. Instead of them like promoting it and allowing everybody to financially prosper, they're trying to control it in this country and keep the genie in the bottle. Okay? But they're like, well, the genie's already out, so why don't we just tax the genie? That's what they're up to. That's where they're at. So we get no representation. We get a lot of taxation. Okay? In fact, we get competition, not even representation in court. But yet, we get taxation. So, I'm here to tell you that they already know how wealthy you already are. I'm here to tell you that if you own gold, silver, cryptocurrencies, I prefer the top 10, real estate, in particular, valuable real estate that's always gone up, you are about to have a prosperity come your way that they already understand. They've already done the numbers. They've crunched the numbers. We print this much, this many people become millionaires, multi-millionaires, and beyond. They see the math. It's all just math. They follow the taxes, and they're coming after it. So, with all that, there's a bad beginning to the whole story and a happy ending to the story. The other happy ending is I can't give any financial advice, but I would have you look into as many avenues that you can to use your life-changing profits to help your family and friends, and your financial rewards will bless you forever and the rest of your days. And for generations to come, you will find great tax people out there. I'm not one of those people, but you can find brilliant people in our space who can help you with that. And they can help you even potentially get, maybe your spouse can get a overseas passport or any of those things. None of that is advice. all of that is just concepts and things that you may want to really look into, because it's out there and you can do it. And when they come after us because we're the new rich, or we're the new financially wise people that were smart enough to understand where the ball's going, and we got it, and we got in early and we made a ton of money, they're going to want to pry it out of our hands because they think that we're not intelligent enough to find ways to circumvent their control and their power. And they would be wrong about that, wouldn't they? All right, guys. With that, I hope you guys like and subscribe. I have some great concepts about all of that coming forward. I also have some stuff in my Patreon, so if you'd like, please look me up at thestaplecrew.info. And we're getting into some really neat stuff about how to become your own banker and many other things. So with that, I am out, and I will see you very soon, and I love you all. I'm out.